How you guys doing today? Let's get a look at a Shirogorov Hati, if that's exactly what this is. This is not my knife. This is just first impressions. I have not carried or used this knife. Alright, all disclaimers out of the way. Trying to give you guys a tour around this knife. I had heard so much about these, like everybody, and if you've never had one in your hands, it's truly something else. Even this video here, as best as I can to show you all the details here, you really won't get it until it's in your hand up. But anyways, I want to give you guys some first impressions here. Let you know what I think about this knife and what I feel sets it apart pretty much from any knife I've ever handled before. I know that's a lot, huh? It's the truth though. I'm not saying it's better than any knife I've ever held, but it definitely is almost completely different than anything I've ever got to play with or take apart. So maybe not completely different, but it has a bunch of unique features that are really cool, especially for an everyday carry. Really, if you're into large knives, and this is a large knife, I brought down my military just to show you some cutting edge comparisons here. Spyderco military. Yeah, that's a pretty large blade. Here's your overall. Well, I can't fit them all in the frame. Yeah, it's alright, you get the point. The cutting edge might be a little longer on the Shirogorov here. Alright, so let's talk about lockup. Super early lockup, but it is very stable. There's no wiggle at all either way. I actually had to adjust this pivot. That was the only thing that was quote unquote wrong with this knife, and truthfully it probably would have broke in with a few hundred flips, but anyways, I just had to adjust the pivot there, and I polished up the washers. Inside this pivot is a lot like a Chris Reeve Sebenza. So it has the hole for the blade, right, and then it has the spacer or bearing or bushing. Not really a bearing. Bearing would have ball bearings in it, but it has a bushing inside that hole of the blade to keep the outer scales here separated from the washers, and it's all done incredibly precise, so it's no wiggle side to side, much like a Sebenza. First thing that I thought as soon as I held this hand and took it out of the package, it comes in this really cool cloth with that awesome logo on there. Comes in a box like this with the logo on there again. There's the model number for anybody wanting to maybe do some more research on this knife. These are hard knives to come by. But anyways, first thing I thought was how incredibly light this knife was, especially for the size, and especially for how thick this blade is. And I know on camera sometimes it's hard to get some sort of scale on how thick this blade is, so for comparison I brought the SNG, Strider SNG, and just show you the thickness there. Good gracious. Talk about a strong knife. Alright, so we've got a nice thick blade with a full flat grind that's almost down to what seems like a zero ground grind, meaning the grind comes all the way up, all the way to the edge, and then a very slight micro bevel. Can you see it? That's the factory edge. I did not touch that. It's just barely a micro bevel. Very consistent all the way down the whole knife. I mean, you can tell that the Shirogorov brothers company, it's hard to get info on this because I can't read Russian, so I just kind of have to go by what I've seen and heard. So I don't know if this is considered a custom knife or a mid-tech knife. I don't think that they do produce custom knives, I know that. But they also have a line of maybe what you would call production or mid-tech. This is certainly, if this is considered a production, it's much like Chris Reeve or Strider or something like that. You know, maybe mid-tech. I don't know if there's a proper terminology for that. Probably mid-tech. Anyways, I keep showing you guys this. How cool is that back spacer? Made out of G10. Comes down, and then if you don't want a lanyard, it's really out of the way and you really can't see what's going on. But of course the back spacer has a hole in it, and then there's these space on the side where you could certainly thread a lanyard through there. Thought that was a really trick way to do that without really just drilling a hole through the side of the knife. Kinda neat. Love this hardware. How cool is that? And then nice, smooth, clean look on the back. If you notice, minimal design, not minimal design, but minimal hardware to hold it together. You know, that's something cool. And look at this clip. Nice and sculpted, just gorgeous. The clip is a work of art. I mean, the whole knife is, but holy smokes. Incredible. And also, I keep skirting around what I really want to talk about. When I took this out of my hand, out of the box, noticed how light it was. So of course, then you look at, oh well, there you go. It's a nice thick piece of G10 back spacer. Just this side is titanium for the frame lock, but I don't know. I've got my flashlight here. If we can see into the knife. Can you see that pocket that's milled out there? Oh yeah. All milled out on the inside. Can you see it? How cool is that? I mean, it looks like really deep pockets in that titanium too. So I looked it up online. Most retailers do not have them in stock, but they do have the specs. And saying that this is somewhere around 4.1 ounces. Wow, that is incredible for how thick this blade is and how big this knife is. You know, quite a feat. And really, I mean, if you wanted to carry a large knife and you love the design of the Shirogorov knives, oh man, if they're all made like this, I'm impressed. I'm going to be saving my pennies to purchase one myself. This one is actually, if I haven't said so, for sale. I will not be running that sale. I would just connect you to my good friend who sent this to me. Then you guys can hash out price and payments and all that stuff. So if you're looking at this screw there, of course it has a steel insert in there for the lock face, and on that steel lock face, I don't know if we can see inside there again, and maybe not. Anyways, it has like a triangle tip that goes up, so it's actually, you can kind of see it. You see it right here, how it comes over and goes up. That's your lock bar overextender stop, your lock stop. You really can't see it. But anyways, super clean way to do that. Again, not the first time we've seen that, but it's always cool when you see stuff like that. And then check out how tight that cutout is. And you can barely, of course it's separated there, but man, talk about tight tolerances. Trying to get light to shine through it. There you go. Tight tolerances. So that is the Shirogorov on washers. This does not have bearings. Just incredibly well designed, nice jimping. Not real rough. Mostly for looks, but it is functional. Have something stuck inside that one right there. There you go. Alright. Kind of cool. I love the orange. I love the milling on the front of it. I love the hardware. The flipper is awesome. It does have a strong detent. Does have a strong detent. You can almost shake this blade down. It's just incredibly smooth. It's not on bearings. You know, when you see custom knives on bearings, or even some production knives, they'll just slowly glide down. Close down. That's cool. I don't know. I guess I can make another video on that. Maybe I already have. Bearings versus washers. I prefer washers myself. So, anyways. That strong detent, as soon as you overcome it, just the blade rips out of there. And also, this has a really well designed flipper. I don't know what it is. A lot of newer knives and a lot of mid-tech knives are coming out with these really sharp flippers. I have no idea when that would be a good idea. But this is very well done. Fires like a rocket. So hopefully I haven't gushed about this knife too much. I mean, again, I haven't carried it and used it, so I couldn't tell you the real story, you know, after the honeymoon phase wears out. I just really love it. It looks like a piece of art. I think someone who's not even into knives could appreciate something like this. Just as an object, you know, as a useful functioning piece of art. I mean, which is why we're all, if you're watching this, we're all into the knife hobby. But this is something else. It looks like it's from the future. Real cool. RWL 34 blade steel, if I haven't said. All stonewash titanium stonewash blade. I would love to put this in my pocket. Just the timing's not right for me. So if you want to purchase this, it's for a reasonable price. They are expensive. You know, you're looking at $750 and up usually for any Shirogorov, really. But anyways, they can go up from that. Really nice. Anyways, what I was saying, for me personally, this is the one I would purchase. It has the washers, which I prefer when I'm working out with my sandblasting equipment and stuff like that. Sand cannot really fall in and gunk up those washers like it can bearings. Just personal opinion and taste. And then the full flat grind here, that's almost a zero edge with a micro bevel on it. I can only imagine this thing cuts like a demon. With the thicker blade stock, of course, you wouldn't have to be worried about torquing into your cuts or anything. With your replaceable, if you ever needed it, or serviceable lock face insert, it's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. So there it is, the first Shirogorov I've ever had the pleasure of handling and messing around with. Just a beautiful knife. If I didn't say the pivot system, we already did talk about that, right? How it has like the Sabenza style bushing in there. Yeah, we did. Been a long day. That's it, guys. Let me know what you think. Have you played with them? Do you have any of them in your collection? I know you guys do because I'm watching you on Instagram. Addictive action. This is an incredibly well-made knife. Thanks a lot, guys. See ya.